Hello everyone, this is Dan with Arcade Funcade. Today we wanted to show you guys a Williams Hotline 1966 pinball machine. And we wanted to show you guys a little bit, well, a lot of it, of the problems that we had with this machine. There was a ton of things that we did to this guy. We completely took out all the plastics, put new rubbers in, checked out all the rollovers, and just changed out all the little bulbs. We put a bunch of little bulbs in there, put some LEDs in it to just brighten it up. And we found a bunch of problems, a bunch of things that were wrong with this thing that we just couldn't even figure out. There was so much. There was so much that we didn't even know where to start. And we finally got it done. And I wanted to go over this thing with you because I know there's going to be somebody out there that was pulling their hair out like we were. There was just so many little details, and there's always a place to start. And we totally didn't do it this time. So we wasted a ton of time, and what we want to do is just show you guys where you should start. Let's say you buy a machine, and you're like, you know what, we're gonna get this guy, home, and you figure it out. You're like, you know what, I want to play it tonight or whatever, and it doesn't work, and you're like, oh man, what's going on? It worked when we had it there, when we picked it up, and that's usually what happens. These machines always work when we pick them up. So one of the things that we noticed, first thing that we did is that we were supposed to do that we didn't do, we waited till last, is that these score reels, this third one, which ends up being the hundred mark, this guy, the second one over, it counts out. You can see this guy. I'm gonna press the little button down here, little jet bumper. Well, it would go from 8, 9, and then go to back to 10 or 1, and it would not flip the 1, and we were just like, what the heck? So that's one problem that we had. It wasn't clicking over the third piece. So what we ended up doing, the third number. So what we ended up doing is we cleaned the hell out of this guy. We took a little piece of sandpaper, and we just put it on a little piece of metal, and we squeezed it. And again, you're not supposed to use sandpaper, but we did it anyway because it was so charred up and dirty. So we took I think it's just like it's like a 400 grit. It's really, really thin. But we took this guy. You can see it even shined out. You see the shiny on that guy from all the cleaning we did, which is okay because I guess it doesn't do as much damage. So there was a bunch of little things. There was some wires that were just not connected on this guy. And there was also a couple of wires up here that were loose. We had the top and bottom wires that were completely loose. And this guy itself was just hard. Now this guy was also, this is your thousand point reel. This guy was completely powered up. It just popped over. We couldn't figure out what was the matter with it. There's relays under the playfield. There's just rollovers that were getting stuck. There was so much stuff, and we're like, what the heck? So first thing you do when we have something like that happen, and this fixed two problems that we had. So one of them was this reel, and I want to show you guys. I want to pull this thing off so I show you guys the reel inside. Because again, it's going to save a lot of time and just frustration. Somebody had pulled this spring and popped it in there. You can see that it just didn't have enough tension to pull it back. What they needed to do is take this thing apart and oil it. And that's what we ended up doing. We cleaned the crap out of it, oiled it. Our fingers were all inside this reel, as you can see. We should have probably cleaned the rest of it, but now that it's working, now we know that we can go inside and clean it up. All these little contacts, the little leaf contact, we have all these little guys. All these fellas were completely dirty. None of these guys were spaced out right. We had to make sure that these were all connecting and not connecting in certain places. There's certain things that happen when balls are being, when points are being made. And these guys, you can see the little contacts, they're actually connecting. And some of them just were not in place. They weren't falling in place. And again, this is a 1966, so there's a lot of dust and nasty stuff going on inside this guy. In case somebody's wondering, why is that so dirty? So what we do is we'd like to make them work first, and then we clean the crap out of them. Just want to make sure everything's working before we go screw something else up. And so anyway, there's that guy. Now this guy, we actually took this guy off the wall, the entire thing, and cleaned every single one of the leaves, and then we spaced them out to where they're not touching. You see that they're just barely, just super close to each other, but yet they're not touching. You can see the small adjustments that we made. Try to use my finger, but it's just too damn close. These little guys, you can see this tiny bend in this guy. That makes a world of a difference. They get the right bend and have these guys just touch exactly level. Some of them hit an angle, and it just sometimes doesn't have enough connection, which totally sucks. And it just makes for a bad connection. And then these guys, the reels just don't move, or they seem weak, and they're not weak. They just need to get cleaned, oiled, and whatever. And this guy up here, the relay with the 1,000 mark. So we have our 10. You can see this guy as it hit it. We have our 10s, 100s, and our 1,000. So these guys, what's going on with these fellas is that most of the time these contacts are dirty as hell, and they're just not going to be doing what they're supposed to. So this guy was totally messed up. There was some stuff in the back. We took off the screws. There's a screw here in the back left side, screw in the top right side. And what we do is just take it off. And you got to be very careful with this wire, just to make sure this guy doesn't get yanked off. And if it does, just resolder it. But yeah, we clean the crap out of these guys and then set them. You see right where that guy is right there. They're just barely touching. Well, actually, they're not touching. They're almost touching, and that's the idea. They look super, super close. So these guys are your number ones to go to clean up. I would recommend just going straight to these guys and just cleaning them up. That way your reels feel and run like brand new. And again, you got to blow them out, clean them out, and all that good stuff. We have our ball counter over here, and we have our ball counter up top, and our credits counter down below. It's a replay unit. So this guy literally reads out all kinds of good stuff. And the connections. So we also do another thing here. These little, I think they're called Jones plugs, these fellas here. So these guys connect or control all of your back box wiring in the back of these guys. So without that guy being plugged in, or if you have bad connections or dirty connections, you're going to have no power in the back. So there's that. We're going to go around the front side. And we wanted to show you guys the bottom of this guy. What's going on with this fella. So we're going to prop this fella up and show you guys a whole bunch of things that happen. So we had a gate here. There's a little wire gate right there that opens up. And there's a little wire that goes right through that playfield. This little guy right here. And what that was doing is that it was jumping around. Now we had a wire that was disconnected in here. It was not soldered. So we soldered it in. That was a good idea. And then we had that guy in there. You see the leaves inside there somewhere. Let's see if you can see in the back side of these wires. Right there, there's little leaves back there. So those little leaves back there were having problems as well. They just were not connected the way they were supposed to. They were just too close, and they were just jumping, which made our gate just go haywire, just went crazy. So this guy was just non-stop making noises and just popping, jumping all over the place. And that was pretty wild. The other thing we have is the bottom of this guy. Also, it's called a gate control. So this guy also controls that gate. So this fella, it's engaged now, but when you press it, it's supposed to open up that gate and keep it moving, or get it moving. And what was happening is that the contacts in these guys were also messed up. So we had to clean the crap out of these guys and make sure they were okay. This is the change relay. This is also another issue. So we clean the crap out of all this stuff, make sure everything's completely organized and doing well. The last thing that we did not do that we're still working on is this bell. There's a bell in the back. I believe it was replaced. It was supposed to be a 3-inch bell. Somebody replaced it with a 5-inch, and that was an upgrade that somebody did. So that was supposed to be like a big deal or whatever. But I'm plugging that guy back in. All these little relays, what you want to do is, at least, I mean, this is going to be something that's going to be helpful for somebody. But what you want to do is go through and clean up every one of these relays. Now, what we found with this guy is that somebody rigged this, obviously. This thing's completely burned out, and their wire's not even connected. It's literally loose. So someone put a piece of paper in there, and we left it in there while we're waiting for the part. This will not go back as is. So that's one thing to not do. If you have it at home, you want to just change those parts out. That was Jimmy rigged, and we didn't notice it until we got back, and we're like, holy crap, that's awesome. So, in a bad way. So all these guys, crazy ideas. You can see all the ashes and all the metal work down below that was already there. Maybe, but clean up over the years, I have no idea, but there's a lot of crap down there. You can see all these little leaves all got cleaned out and readjusted. Same idea with these guys. Every contact was cleaned and opened up and readjusted. Without these guys being right, nothing's gonna work. So the same idea with this thing. You see, everything is just cleaned up and readjusted. Every last one. And there's so many. There's so many things to oil, so many things to clean, contacts. All these wires, you want to check every one of these wires, most of these contacts, because there's so much movement and vibration. One of these things could vibrate and just break off. It'll just have a cold solder problem. These guys, what was it? The jet bumpers. We had a jet bumper that was messed up here, and what happened is that the connection, the contact, was just not connecting. We were pressing down really hard and it just wasn't connecting. Well, those little teeth right there, little contacts, were completely blacked out and they had a bunch of charred crap all over it. So we just cleaned it up and adjusted it. Same idea. It was just one jet bumper. It was bad, and we checked that. We checked the contact before we do anything else. And second thing is to check the actual solenoid. We jumper it. We find a 24-volt contact here, lead, and we just alligator clip it and test it out, see if it works. So there's that. So we figured all that stuff out, clean these guys up, clean up these relays. There's just so much stuff. As you can see, the finger's kind of dirty. But yeah, so we did a bunch of stuff to this guy, made sure everything was okay, all the contacts cleaned up, made sure everything is in order. You want to go through all the contacts. That's the main deal. If it's already working, awesome. If there's problems and parts that you may think, oh man, I don't know what to do, you could watch yourself and do a bunch of good stuff. I want to show you guys a tool we have here. Damn, I don't know where I put it. It's probably down below, somewhere in there. It's a wired up alligator clip. And what this thing does is that it's an awesome testing wire. And I just had this guy here somewhere. I don't know where the hell I put it. Should have had it here somewhere. I might have thrown it away. Damn. Anyway, so with the alligator clip, it has a little fusible link in it. So what we like to do is, if you have any fuses that are popped, what we usually do is we just take out the pop fuse, and what we like to always test your fuses outside of the machine. So always unplug it and then put a voltmeter up to these guys. And in case you're wondering, how do we do that? I'm gonna do a quick test on that guy because a lot of people ask about that. And again, I gotta walk back. Got my voltmeter. So what we do is we're going to take this guy, and what we're going to do is set it up for continuity. So this is another thing. Some people have, this is their first pin, and they want to know. So we're going to just yank out one of these fellas. Damn, that thing's hard. There we go. We got one out. This is a slow blow. Slow blow 10 amp. Actually, this is a 10 amp. Looks like a slow blow. So anyway, there it is. So this guy, what we do is you put your multimeter, voltmeter, on continuity to check for continuity. And what we're going to do is put these guys in our. Really wish I had a cameraman. The budget didn't allow. So what we do is we do this, and we just put one end on the other and make sure it makes some sounds. So if it's making a sound, you have continuity, and that's the way to check your fuse outside of your pinball. So if you're having problems and you're like, holy crap, why isn't my GI working? And again, you may have a newer pinball machine. You may want to check out videos that have a newer pinball. This is a 1966 electromechanical, and there's a ton of stuff. But first place you want to start, if things don't turn on, nothing's working. First thing you want to do is go to your fuses. Now sometimes underneath the Playfield there are some hidden fuses. You want to look around, check out all the little connections to see if you have any fuses. Sometimes there's fuses that are right here, right underneath the solenoids that power up your actual flippers. So these are your flipper solenoids. And sometimes you have a bad solenoid. You're thinking your flipper's messed up. And all you have to do is go under here and look for one of your wires. See if any of these wires are loose. And if they are loose, all you got to do is resolder them. Fortunately enough, we didn't have any of these things messed up. But yeah, sometimes these guys get locked up. Sometimes the brace breaks, and you can just order some parts. And if your solenoid still works, you're good. You just push it in with a little screwdriver, hold it, and let it pop out. I wouldn't recommend holding that near your face though, but yeah, definitely you can try it out and test it. These guys right here, you can see this fella has a little piece of fiberglass in there that holds. It's like a little hinge, and those like to break. I see a lot of those things break pretty often. So we actually left some of the regular bulbs underneath, and we're still waiting for new bulbs to come in, so we'll be swapping those guys with some LEDs soon. And what else? There's a couple other things. The counter here, we have a little advance unit. This guy too, super stuck. We had to oil the hell out of this thing to keep it moving. It was all gunked up. I don't know what happened, but it was messed up. I think we already showed that. But yeah, so far so good. The machine works amazingly. I think the next thing we're going to tackle is the coin door. We want to make sure that the coins are being read and making sure that it's okay. Oh, while we're here, solenoid. This is the out hole kicker. And oh, there's another thing. There you go. All the freaking out hole kickers. So there's all these fuses or all these solenoids need to get cleaned up, and you can also test them by pushing them. There's a little, you see the little plastic thing there? You can just push that little plastic up towards the wall so you can make these contacts connect. And what you can do is just test them out. If you see something not working, you can test them out and just, again, find your bad contact by just moving those guys and making something happen. That's usually what happens, and or usually clean them and then test them. So that's always a good idea. You can always clean them, adjust them, and then test them. That's usually how we do it. So cool stuff. I'm going to show you guys what we were talking about here with the advancing of the ball. So the ball did not like to advance. The resetting, you can see the 1426 up there. You have the number 1. So every time we start this game, and we just started out, and again, I'm going to put it in here. This guy's already got a game started. So I got to kill the game off here really quick. The ball is not advancing. There we go. Now it'll advance. The thing has a field for some balls, and then that chime was not working. So now I think you guys saw us plug it in. So that plug-in is powered up by this fella. So this guy runs the show. Once I cleaned that guy, everything worked. The thousands number worked. The thousands, the hundreds number, and the thousands number started moving. I don't know why the hell I kept calling it thousands, but that's the one. You clean the hell out of that guy, and that thing will start working. If anything here, any one of the tens, hundreds, or thousands, or yeah, ones, tens, and thousands are stuck. If you see them where they're completely just hung over, and you can hear the hum, that's going to be this guy's deal right here. He's going to be the one he's going to be the culprit. You're going to want to take a wire brush, yank these out, and clean up all these contacts on these, oh my God, what the hell do they call this? Something J connectors, something Jones connectors, that's it. And clean the hell out of those guys and put them in there. Another thing we've done is we've taken a DeWalt drill, or just a drill, with a 1/8" drill bit. And you take these guys off, and you shove it into the hole, and you put it in reverse, and go slowly in reverse and clean out the hole. And that way you're not cutting out any metal, but you just slowly clean out every one of those holes with an 1/8" bit, and then you tighten those guys up with a little needle nose plier. So they're nice and snug when you snap them in. So that's cool. And you don't want to get them too tight, because we might break the Jones connector top. They're made out of some kind of like resin, fiberglass resin thing. So they're not that flexible. So anyway, there's that. So yeah, now we have our chime working, which is pretty rad. There we go. We're gonna reset the game. You see that thing getting hung up there. All right, so yeah, we got our ball kicked out, and that guy stopped going to number 2. So every time we reset this, the number 1 would go to 2, and the number 1 ball would just be lost, and we'd have 4 balls to play. So that really sucked. Another thing you can do is to reset this. Just press another start. Press start again. Well, I guess not. Shit, I think it actually finally works the way it's supposed to. There it is. All right. So we're gonna get some gameplay and show you guys how this all works. So there's actually a lot going on with this guy. I like the little chime in there. So now you know, if you don't like the little bell, you know where to disconnect and connect it from. There's the little contact way in the back left side. You can just pick it up and just pull it out and just disable it. There's also a cabinet knocker, and some people don't like it. The customer that we picked it up from didn't know what that was, and I'm like, dude, it's just a knocker. It comes with the machine. It's what it is. It's supposed to be there. But we might give them the option. We'll see how it works, and if he doesn't like it, we'll just unplug it. But yeah, so far that's all we wanted to show you guys. We also had a couple things going on with the coin doors, and we still have to go through all this thing and make sure all the coins work, all the coin backs work, and all the wiring. So that'll be a part 2 video after we're done. So we've had this thing for about a day or so, and we tore the hell out of this thing really quick. But we've been on this thing for about 14 hours now. So we cleaned the crap out of it and did a bunch of stuff. But anyway, again, this is Dan with Arcade Funkade. You guys, thank you guys for watching. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. Maybe we could help you guys out and tackle some issues you guys might have with your own machines. And again, take care and thanks for watching.